Welcome to the channel PK 2023. Hope everyone has a good time watching our videos.
Mario Balotelli became a preposterous cartoon act by the end of his Manchester City career. If only Pep Guardiola had got his hands on him. Seeing Mario Balotelli on the touchline at the Champions League final was a throwback to the time when he was raising hell at Manchester City. The same smoldering presence. The same sartorial elegance. The same sense that he would really rather be somewhere else. Predicted score, Mario, for the BT Sport team who were paying you very well? No comment, he replied. He became a preposterous figure within these shores by the end, a cartoon character who revealed that t-shirt, "Why always me?" whilst scoring 2 goals in the 6-1 hammering of Manchester United at Old Trafford in October 2011. How we laughed at that gesture at the time, though wasn't there something rather tragic about the lack of self-respect? No one ever really answered that question Balotelli posed or unraveled the mysteries of his interior mind, certainly not Roberto Mancini, so loathed by his own players towards the end that there was not a single positive word to be found when City showed him the door. The tracks of Balotelli's career, 9 moves in as many years after City, tell the own story of what happened next. Those clubs were all presupposing that they would unlock the genius that Balotelli's football sometimes hinted at, altering his body shape to glide a ball, first time, past Johnny Evans, and score that first goal against United, but it was maddeningly always out of reach. Amid the lunacy and attention-seeking, the fireworks being let off in his bathroom, the dart fired at a youth team player, there were occasional hints of a different Balotelli, struggling to get out. I remember discovering that he had quietly become a regular visitor to a refuge, the Booth Centre, beside Manchester Cathedral, that helps hundreds of the city's homeless each year. When the cathedral staff were staging a sponsored sleep-out to raise funds for the place, I made inquiries to see whether Balotelli would agree to offering a few quotes and a private photograph, to be distributed to media to support the venture. The word came back that getting him there for something stage-managed would be impossible. He only operated off the cuff. He looked very out of place on that TV panel on Saturday night, when City had won the final and he had drifted out onto a pitch. Perhaps a little of the 32-year-old Balotelli reflected on what might have been, had he come under Pep Guardiola's supervision at City. A ludicrous notion, many would say, because of Guardiola's utter intolerance of any who waste his time, João Cancelo being a case in point. Yet intolerance is not the same as indifference. Jack Grealish seems no more a Guardiola type than Balotelli, but the manager has invested precious time in getting to know him and understanding what might help improve him. A river of words has flown since City's triumph on the banks of the Bosphorus, though none more powerful than Grealish's tear-streaked tribute, just after the final whistle, to Guardiola. "He put so much faith in me," Grealish said. "Even when I was crap. Guardiola will accept foibles and indiscretions if a player has an obsession with the game," and that was the impression of Balotelli I was left with after an hour or so in the company of one of the few people who really knew him, his foster mother. I last saw her on a Sunday morning in the winter of 2011, a tiny, formidable woman, Sylvia, who clambered into the ludicrously huge people carrier which was laid on to whisk her from Manchester's Deansgate, Mario's latest abode at the time, to the airport. It had been one of her periodic trips, limited by her husband's poor health, to be with him, and she had wanted to see Manchester Cathedral, where my own son had not long been installed as a chorister. As we walked through the cloisters, she talks about young people needing, above all, individuals who would give them their precious time. That seemed to be how she viewed him, really, a boy out of place, away from home sooner than she'd hoped. But he had this football obsession, and that was that. The family pinned their hopes on Mancini giving Balotelli some of his precious time, though beyond a few public pronouncements that he would become one of the top 5 players in the world, the manager seemed just to wait and hope for the best. The player's agent, the late Mino Raiola, who put the fear of God in some of Balotelli's family, seemed a far bigger influence in his life. There were a few more hints of that potential on the field. The pass which set up Sergio Aguero for the 2011-12 title-winning goal. And then he was gone. A relationship of the kind that Grealish has formed with Guardiola requires a player to give as well as take. To understand him, you don't even have to know too much about football. It's more about curiosity, a willingness to accept a non-conventional mind, says Marty Pererna, a writer and friend of Guardiola. That might have been beyond Balotelli, though if any manager had the capacity to locate some consistent brilliance beneath the madness, then it would have been him.
Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe channel, comment and sharing our videos.